Welcome to Talk. My name is Eddie Marmolejo. Along with my co-host Jaime Moreno, we created this conservative podcast to bring facts to the issues America faces today. Left-wing bashing? That's too easy, and that's not what we do. Instead, Jaime and I tackle the issues, analyze them, and give our opinions through a conservative perspective. So if you want to join two conservative Latinos on this journey, sit back, crank up the volume, and let's talk.
The United States is running concentration camps on our southern border.
The United States is running concentration camps on our southern border.
And that is exactly what they are. They are concentration camps. And if that doesn't bother you, we can have, whatever. I want to talk to the people that are concerned enough with humanity to say that we should not, that never again means something. And that the fact that concentration camps are now an institutionalized practice in the home of the free is extraordinarily disturbing.
Welcome to this week's Talk. We are your hosts, Jaime Moreno
And Eddie Marmolejo.
Okay, so
here we go again.
I don't know what to say about that video that you just saw. I'm sorry, but I guess we have officially in the United States institutionalized, and we're 100% functioning with concentration camps at the border.
Yeah, so fresh face.
This is the face of the progressive Democrats?
First of all,
and then she goes on and saying about the Japanese.
Yeah, the internment camps, how we put Japanese in internment camps, which is, it is a dark part of our history.
Wait, but wasn't that done by FDR, the man she praises?
It was, yes, it was, yeah.
By Franklin D. Roosevelt, Democrat, and a Democrat-controlled Congress, and a Democrat-controlled Senate during the 40s, who ordered the concentration camps of the Japanese, or the internment camps for the Japanese.
Whatever you want to call it. So that's, and her follow-up tweets didn't help at all. I mean, she said, well, I'm using according to experts, I'm using the broader definition of concentration camps, which I'm like...
I haven't found that. Have you found that?
Yeah, I found it. So I was looking at this report. I think this is where she got her info from. I am not kidding. Because this was literally like verbatim. Like, so Esquire, I just came across it.
Esquire,
yeah. So this was an article read by Jack Holmes on June 13th. Because she said...
This year?
This year, yeah. 2019. She said, an expert on concentration camps says that's exactly what the U.S. is running at the border. So people like Andrea Pitzer, the author of One Long Night, A Global History of Concentration Camps, said she has a more global definition of concentration camps because there's been concentration camps in France, South Africa, Cuba, Soviet Union, and the Japanese internment here in the United States. In fact, she contends, this according to the article, we are operating a system right now in response to a very real spike in arrivals at our southern border. I would like to call a concentration camp system, and the definition of that in my book is mass detention of civilians without trial. So, according to this according to this expert,
what?
So according to this expert, the United States is mass detaining civilians at our southern border, and without trial. We just finish what is being said, okay? Before we start disseminating everything here, and putting them in detention centers, okay. Things can be concentration camps without being called Dachau or Auschwitz, which are death camps. See,
wow.
So okay,
that's insensitive. That's what the hell. That's insensitive. That really is insensitive. That's
yeah. So
making
what
me
she says,
piss
well,
off.
the article goes on to say not every concentration camp is a death camp, which is correct.
The concentration camps were death camps.
No. Actually, no. Yeah, no.
It started as a work camp.
It started as a work camp. But some of those work camps
And then
were
the final
involved,
solution.
Yes, but not all the labor camps were turned into death camps.
No, they just moved them to death camps.
But and that's what I'm saying. Let me finish before we start attacking.
Oh my god! Okay, sorry, Eddie. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's just so insensitive.
So often, much of death and suffering is a result of insufficient resources, overcrowding, deteriorating conditions. Right? So they point out that 24 people have died in custody of immigration and customs enforcement, 6 children also, and so forth. And it goes on to the history of the Boer War and all that.
The Boer War?
The Boer War, yeah.
The late 1800s?
Yeah, so basically when the British put South Africans in concentration camps as well. But I was like, how are you distinguishing concentration camps? Because it points out that we have to take this article seriously, right, and to take their premise seriously, we have to basically go beyond the original context. And I'm not agreeing with anything that this article is saying.
This article's stupid.
Yeah, it really
sorry,
is.
Esquire, you're just shameful, Esquire. You should shut down. Fake news.
But it goes. You have to go beyond the original definition of it.
So okay, simplify this for us.
Yeah.
So Esquire is saying the new definition of concentration camp.
No, according
is
to experts. Concentration camps cannot be. It's the simple definition that we think about Nazis and death camps.
Okay, so all right, let's do a comparison real quick.
So it's any. So basically, what it's trying to say is it's any institution that holds civilians without trial.
But you can't hold civilians without trial. See, that's the problem.
Well, let's keep going.
That's the problem.
What do you mean?
Okay. From what I've learned in history, in AP European history. Remember we took AP European history?
Dude, I took a lot of history, but yeah, sure.
AP European history, and we're going
to high school now.
We're going to resume from like high school up to college, right? So European history, and then we take history in college. Right?
Yeah.
Which we always talk about World War II, which is many of the big things, how the United States got involved and blah, 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 and what happened. Right? Ever since we've understood the history of the Holocaust. Right. First of all, we got to say the Holocaust. Right?
The Holocaust, yes.
The Holocaust.
Yeah.
It was a targeted race. I mean,
yes.
the Nazi party targeted Jews.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's always been the thing. They targeted Jews. They removed Jews from their homes and blah, blah, blah. I mean, now I want to say blah, blah. Sorry. They removed their homes, their businesses. They made them wear
the stars.
They distinguished them, right? Yeah. And then they moved them to ghettos.
Yes.
Okay.
No. Well, they weren't from the ghettos. They went to the camps.
And then from the ghettos, they went to the camps.
Yeah. And then from the
some went to work camps.
And some went to
death camps.
The other camps.
And they were gassed and all that stuff. And then the final solution came around.
No, that was the final solution.
That was I know, but like. I want to give a timeline for the viewers.
Final solution was 44,
right?
No.
43?
43 or 42. I want to make sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 43.
Because the war ended in 45.
Yeah, keep going. Hold on.
Right, so the war. Okay, so we had to do a timeline. The Nazi Party came to power in 1928.
The war began in 39. So
yeah, 39. But the Nazis, had at least 10 years of power before they went to war.
Oh wow, really? Wow, we were way off.
Oh, my bad. Okay, we're correcting ourselves. That's good. See?
Oh no, 42.
Talk.
Yeah.
42?
Yeah.
So the final solution started in 42?
Yeah, 42. It's February of 42. Yeah. So that's what I said. It was like, what did I say? 43?
You said 43.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you were close. Yeah. I said 44. I was thinking towards the end of the war.
No, that was 43 because as you were pointing out, the ghettos were getting overcrowded, and deportation wasn't working. So they said, what else can we do? How do we determine a Jew? Was a Jew? Was not a Jew? I'm not gonna get into the history. Anyways,
they actually used American standard. The Jim Crow standards to determine.
No, it was actually also not even Jim Crow. Man, you're gonna get me on a tangent. And you know what? No,
okay, sorry.
Just stop
it. Let's go back. So, all right. So we all know the Holocaust, right? They had concentration camps.
Right.
They were sent to death camps, which either most of them were gassed, right? Especially
gas
Auschwitz.
or summarily executed.
Yeah,
And
by bullet, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So they were killed, eliminate the Jewish, terminate the Jewish population, right? The filth. Now, tell me how that is going in the border. How are they forcing people into a camp?
Right.
Forcing people to leave their livelihoods, leave their homes, leave their target that. So it's okay. And then they're gonna say, okay, we're gonna get rid of you guys by killing you.
So that's
what a concentration camp
was. This is where I get to the absurdity of not only AOC's comment, but also this article. Okay, first of all, concentration camp. If you want to take their argument seriously, which I'm not.
Don't take it seriously.
She's saying that you have to go beyond that dogma of it's not just putting people into camps and summarily executed. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how you just purposely.
That is the definition.
No, but yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. You gotta. I'm just trying to take their argument.
I know.
And I'm saying, according to her and the experts, the concentration camp that she's talking about is basically when we detain those people and put them into detention centers.
But that's kind of like saying you're being arrested for committing a crime.
But now we're gonna get to it. So first of all, when I looked up the word concentration camp, because I wanted to see where the heck she was even talking about, like where did she draw this argument from? So I researched it, and the term concentration camps it's a camp where political prisoners, people of a certain group, or people that were not viewed that should be part of society were put into certain centers, to certain camps. That was Webster, Oxford, every other dictionary available. And all of them said it. And when you Google it, so you know that was a real liberal source. It was Google. Basically, they said, and most profoundly known for its use during World War II. Now, if you want to take AOC seriously, which is like, this is where your argument falls apart. Those people were now rounded up by any means within continental U.S. Or were they invaded into Mexico, where they were rounded up there and put into camps. The illegal aliens, although they don't want to call them that anymore, too. According
Undocumented.
That's not in the U.S. Code, so I don't care.
No, it's immigrants.
No, it's illegal aliens. Title of the U.S. Code, sir. But anyways, so they came across the border illegally, so they broke the law. To enforce the law, you have to arrest them or detain them. To process them and get the information and vet what's going on, you have to put them in centers. Now, these holding areas. Now, these centers have been reported to be undermanned, undersupplied, and overwhelmed with people that are being processed. Yeah, it's been reported to the Judiciary Committee. It's been reported to many during congressional hearings. Most recently by Macalinen, the acting acting Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, right? Where he said, "Well, we're undermanned. We're having so many people crossing the border. What do you want us to do?" That's what the president was trying to do. He's telling you it's a humanitarian crisis at the border. It's a humanitarian crisis at the border. It's a humanitarian crisis at the border. Where do you want me to put them? I have to process them. A lot of these family units are using kids as passports, right? To figure out what's going. So basically, not only to stay, but to claim the asylum claim. That's basically their ticket. And it's been reported on Univision, Telemundo, and even the Central American newspapers, where they say that a lot of these coyotes and so forth say, bring a kid with you and you probably have an easier way to get asylum. Yeah, so it's been reported. Now, so we go back to AOC again. So how are you calling this a concentration camp when people that are running the system going to say, we need help, we're undermanned, we're overwhelmed, the courts are gridlocked. Macalinen says that approximately, even if you do process them in your granted hearing, 90% of the people who are granted asylum hearings or just the asylum hearing don't even show up.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And why isn't that being reported by the liberal media, by the MSM?
That's what I'm saying. So
90% don't even show up.
Don't even show up. So
Why?
because
they know their claim is false.
Not only their claim is false, right? But you're already in the U.S. So what's the point? That's what President Trump's saying. If you want to claim for asylum, do it in Mexico or do it in a safe zone, which Mexico is not going to deem itself a safe zone. And as of this week, Guatemala is trying to reach the same way to say we're a safe zone, so you can apply for asylum here. But AOC is calling them concentration camps. Congresswoman, if you're undersupplied, undermanned, and overpopulated these detention centers, what are you going to do? And your remarks come because President Trump is about to put 1,400 unaccompanied children in Fort Steele, Oklahoma. You remember that?
This is ridiculous. This is still ridiculous. I mean, go ahead.
But you remember the last president we had?
You remember
Obama? He did the same thing.
You remember?
He did the same thing in the same fort.
Remember? Yeah, he did.
2014, President Obama used Fort Steele, Oklahoma, to put migrants into them before they got processed. Where are the concentration camp comments then? Obama deported more people. Where's the inhumane comments from the left?
Oh, and he's still the number one.
Oh,
even with Trump, he's still number one.
He's still number one.
Even with Trump in presidency, he's still number one.
Well, really, you're really concerned about kids and all that? Like, so why aren't you going after the real source of the problem? You know, let's go to a really reliable source, because we can't go after Fox News. We have to go to a real reliable source. So I went to Univision, the number one source when it comes to immigration, and Jorge Ramos.
Número uno, Jorge Ramos.
So they report that between 2018, September 2018 and March 2019, approximately 361,000 people were detained at the southern border.
361,000?
About half of them.
That's an entire city.
Yeah, were detained at the Rio Grande sector. 35,000 of them were family units. So now you have to vet those families and make sure that
of the 360,000,
136,000 were detained at the Rio Grande sector.
Out of that number, only 35,000 were families?
Were families, yeah.
Then everyone else is single?
Single, or they come in as a single, like I said, a lot of little children just coming by themselves, or just by, yeah.
So 35,000 family units.
Family units. So family of four, 35,000 family units, like 3 or 4 times that up, 150,000, so forth.
Mm-hmm. Let's do the math, because that seems like
no, it's broken down. So they broke it down. It's 361 total, and I guess 35.
Let's do an average of 3.
Yeah, 3. 105,000 of them were considered all family units.
Dang.
So
that means like 250,000.
But yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of numbers. That's a lot of people.
But honestly, what I'm saying is AOC is not really taking this argument seriously or taking this seriously. All you're doing is basically pandering to your base by calling it a concentration camp. You're not calling it a concentration camp, Congresswoman. You're not attacking the real problem. The real problem is courts are gridlocked. We don't have places to put them.
It's overcrowded.
And then
resources.
According to one of your front runners, the best solution is to build more of them.
Oh yeah,
remember Bernie Sanders? What did he say?
Remember
Bernie Sanders? Bernie Sanders. Yeah, I remember Bernie Sanders.
Remember? Bernie Sanders said we need more
No, we need more concentration camps.
We need more concentration camps.
He said if we're taking AOC's argument seriously, Bernie Sanders, your carnal, your homeboy.
Yeah, literally, you and him are socialist Democrat. Whatever the hell you call yourselves.
You're like
Democratic socialist.
You're like peaches and herb. You both said. He said that the best solution to deal with this issue is to build more detention centers. In your case, more concentration camps. So help me out here. Is this thing working?
But let me ask you to answer my question, which is, right now, if you were the president of the United States, we have overflowing facilities.
Here we go.
They need to go somewhere because they're in that asylum process. Where would you put them?
What about building proper facilities for them right now?
Where?
That can be done
Where?
right on the border. Right on the border at the same
So the people who live on the border should have more facilities in their states, but sanctuary cities which have said they're open to accepting people should not take more.
Now, this is a political act
on the president. It's a real question. That's a real question.
No, it's not a real question.
Yes, it is.
It's a political decision. So what you...
Wow. So you're having 35,000 families crossing the border. you have to vet them. Courts are gridlocked. You don't have the manpower. So what do you expect the president to do?
Facilities.
You have the facilities.
That's why you see the images of where they're at. I mean, it is some of the images we've seen is kind of dehumanizing in a way. But then again, what do you do in an emergency situation? You can't just let them roam free. And then President Trump releases them into sanctuary cities.
Well, he wanted to plan that, and then they were
complaining about that because it's like, whoa, help me take care of these people.
Exactly.
And then these Democrats were like all for immigrant rights and for undocumented immigrants get all mad because you're dumping people into our city.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Well, if you're so pro illegal immigration and you're so for these people, won't you help alleviate the stress in the federal government?
And if they really want to get crazy on this whole asylum thing, Syracuse University did a study, right? And they provide reports to government agencies as well as other independent groups. Said that the court last year alone had 42,000 asylum cases heard. Guess what the percentage of denial was?
42,000 cases heard.
And guess what was the percentage of denied cases?
20%?
No.
Higher?
Yep.
50?
No.
Higher than 50?
Yeah.
60? 70? Don't tell me it's 80.
It's 80%.
80% have been denied?
80%. So check this out. 80% of cases were denied. Out of 42,000, 80% were denied. And then, according to McLean, 90% of the people that have cases don't even show up.
So this is a joke? So that means about 6,000 people actually get their asylum, and the rest are deported or denied.
Denied, yeah.
Denied asylum.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
But you're worried about concentration camps. Calling it whatever they are. They're not concentration camps.
That's just ridiculous. That's just. I mean, the comment itself. I mean, we understand what concentration is. Concentration camps is historically speaking. Which is not even historically speaking. That's just the way concentration camps are. It's a holding area targeted to a certain group of people,
or political
or racial, right? Mm-hmm. And at the end game of either terminating them, killing them, or just killing them, pretty much.
Yeah, or holding them without trial.
Holding them without trial indefinitely.
But my question is, and I have a question for the Congresswoman: why are they being detained again? What are they waiting for?
Asylum.
And what does that entail?
Waiting.
Yeah, if you're waiting for asylum, what does that entail? Where are you going?
You're going before the court.
So you're getting some sort of due process.
Yeah, you are getting due process.
Okay. but
they are getting trial. They are going to get trial. That's right. They're going to get a trial because they're waiting for the court to hear their case.
Yeah, well, 80% chance that you're going to fail.
Even the modern definition of concentration camp doesn't even hold up to what's really going on.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to get to.
And this is the progressive Democrats.
But it's the way they're using language, and it's true.
It's just ridiculous.
No, but it's true.
And that's always what we say here in MM Talk.
That the liberals are really good with language. Well, we're going to take away the death portion out and that portion out and throw that part out.
Because they're trying to focus on the emotional fear tactics.
And the moral
of victimization of people.
All they see is people behind bars or in some sort of detention facility.
It's just labels. And that too, labels. Democrats are really good in the race card and labels, and trying to demonize everyone who opposes their ideas.
Exactly. So, with all that being said, I mean, where's the president left with this, right? So, what do? How do I stop this? So he did the whole which is our next segment now, which is the tariffs. The tariffs on Mexico. Says, well, you guys are not doing enough. I already warned you a couple months ago that if you weren't doing it, I was going to impose tariffs. So he did it. He did that threat instead of closing down the border in San Isidro and closing down the border, said I'm gonna add a tariff. Everybody was afraid of the avocados.
That's funny because just the other day I was talking to a staffer for one of the elected officials here in our city. And she was all like, "Oh, that's a dumb idea of the tariffs." Okay, so remember how we explained to you guys?
We tried
to explain what tariffs were and the impact on the U.S. economy. Remember how we talked about markets and how it just affects certain markets. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry. I'm so sorry. So we try to explain markets and how the tariffs affect certain market, not the entire U.S. economy. So the staffer from an elected official here in the area, we were talking about it, and she was literally thinking that tariffs in Mexico was going to ruin our entire economy. So I'm sitting there, wait, you're supposed to know this, you know? You're like representing an elected official. You're supposed to know all this data, right? The difference, you know? And we were going back and forth about it. I had to explain to her what tariffs are, what markets are going to hit, and it's not going to be that big of an impact on the economy, as we said here in MM Talk. It's
on the short term, did you make that?
The short term, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Long term is going to probably hit, but it's going to be like, it had to be like enforced for over a year, which is not going to happen, right? And that's what we talked here in MM Talk. So, with that being said, and with Ocasio saying, the Democrats, I mean, on both sides of the party, Republicans, Democrats, they're stupid people. And they're going to say stupid things, right? And they're going to embellish, and they're going to exaggerate, and they're going to go to extremes in order to get votes, attention, or fear tactics, right? But we here in M Talk, and you as viewers, are smarter than that, right? We're smart people, we're common sense, and we're not going to fall for that BS, right? So, concentration camps at the border is a BS. We believe that it's insensitive to the people who survived the Holocaust, for the people who died during that time frame. It's really insensitive. It's actually, I want to say it's racist to the point where, like, you're trying to use someone's suffering.
It's once again Democrats being condescending to a particular memory by changing the language, by changing the definition, which is what the left does really well. I hate to admit it, but they do that really well. You had Biden. Put change on Wall Street. They're gonna put you back on change. Hillary Clinton. They all look the same. You know.
Racial rhetoric. It's racist, but it's because a Democrat says it, and because the mass media doesn't really jump on it as quickly. Mm-hmm. People are thought to think that it's not racist or it's not insensitive to those groups of people.
So yeah, it's pretty bad, but maybe I guess when you have your own leader of the party just dismissing, like, well, I didn't hear about it.
Do you know that meme that says "Stop making stupid people famous"? We should apply this to Ocasio. Why are we making a stupid person famous?
No, I don't know. But like I said, the president was left with the tariffs, and the tariffs were a successful way to leverage the Mexican government to do something. It was unpopular amongst us conservatives because we said, well, now we're going to tax our own people just to get some sort of leverage.
So you think it was a good poker face?
It was a good... That's why I think when I wrote my notes, I said Donald Trump wins on the river. Hold on, I think I have it right here. Hold on.
So now we're going to take up the subject of the tariffs in Mexico. Sorry.
Yeah. Donald Trump wins on the river. So, which is what is if you play Texas Hold'em, you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Because tariffs, like we were discussing, it impacts the economy on a long term. And when I was listening to Thomas Sowell say on a short term, and to use it as leverage, if it has some sort of strategy, it could be a successful tool. If it doesn't, then it's gonna go out of control. Mm-hmm. So this was a gamble. So the president is left with no choice. Congress won't help him out. The Mexican government is not listening. So okay, so fine, I'll make you listen. So I'll put tariffs on your products, 5% each month, and then by Friday they reached a deal.
That was quick.
Yeah, because it was going to go in effect on Monday.
Quicker than when China.
No, well, China's a different ballgame, man. China.
Everything is made in China. Why?
But you start seeing reactions from Mexico. Okay, we'll agree to it. But then you also start seeing, what are the things you start seeing? The National Guards being deployed to those portions of Guatemala that's not really patrolled.
So what were the terms of the agreement?
The terms of the agreement have not even really been released. Mm-hmm. Only certain things were released, like they say that they will increase their immigration enforcement policies. Okay. So like I was determining, I was explaining right now, that they will patrol those really tough sections in Guatemala border. They will allow for now asylum seekers to have them wait in Mexico until their court date is heard. instead of having them here and releasing them to the general population, they now will be sent back to Mexico. Mexico was also stating that they will give them healthcare, jobs, and so forth, and work visas as long as they're waiting for asylum to be heard.
Yeah, which was proposed earlier last year.
Yeah, so that's the stuff going in Mexico. This stuff you're seeing. How long that's gonna last? That's what I'm waiting to see, because you always see these things from Mexico where they're all gun ho for maybe like 2 weeks, and they're like, all right, whatever.
Just because the media's all over it.
Well, not, but the media wasn't happy. I mean, you had the one of their top officials saying that this is a disgrace to the national sovereignty, like how their AMLO, Juan Andre Manuel López Obrador, give in to U.S. pressure. The foreign secretary, what's his name? I keep forgetting his name. The foreign secretary from Mexico saying, well, we reached a good deal, but other hardliners in Mexico don't like it because it's like a capitulation from AMLO to Trump. And you clearly see that with this our interview with Jorge Ramos that I was listening to over the weekend, when he interviewed the former Mexican ambassador to the United States, Arturo Sarucán, who said, Jorge Ramos, like in Jorge Ramos fashion, always starts like, well, how do you deal with a bully? Referring to President Trump. He's like, how do you deal with a bully? There's only 3 ways you deal with a bully. He's like, you either confront the bully, you hide from the bully, or you just stay away, period. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well,
So what did the ambassador reply to that?
So basically the ambassador made the claims that the Mexico should not be the de facto border wall that President Trump wants between the Central America and the U.S. The U.S. That should not happen.
That's a thick wall.
It's a pretty big wall. But they should basically have their immigration enforcement agencies more developed, put more funding into it, and so forth. But the Mexico should also, Mexico should also honor all international obligations. So refugee status is assigned. They'll say they should honor all that, because the relationship between the United States and Mexico is very important. Having said that, the ambassador then went on and said that the United States should not hold Mexico as a piñata for political gain. I'm like, wow, okay.
A piñata?
A piñata, yeah, because apparently they did that in 2016. Jorge Ramos then went to falsely claim again that the whole, all Mexican are rapists and all that, So he went on that rant. And then the ambassador was like, well, let's put it simply. Mexico is not a piñata for political gain. I'm like, wow, okay, talk about that.
Well, we know that.
Well, no.
But I mean, Mexico's securing its southern border.
With Guatemala, yeah.
It's not as bad, because if you remember the images that we saw when the first caravan came in,
they were just tearing down.
They tore down those fences. They just marched through like if there was the right to march through. Mm-hmm. And it really showed Mexico as a little punk, a pushover. And if you ever talk to Mexicans in Mexico who actually live there and everything, and what they felt about those images and what they interpreted, I'm talking about not the media, I'm talking about actually people in the streets, day-to-day people, and the reaction was, what the hell? Who do they think they are? This is our Mexico. Why are we being pushed over? Why is Mexico allowing this? Yeah. And this is for Mexicans. Mostly I spoke to people in Tijuana. But that was the thing. So so the tariffs worked in pressuring Mexico to do more
on immigration,
on the caravans, caravans coming in from
and then illegal immigrants
triangle.
crossing. And right? Also, and to be fair, one of the comments that was made is like, well, and it was made by another Mexican official who said, well, illegal aliens are going to make it to the United States whether they like it or not, which is true. It's just
eventually they're going to make it.
Yeah.
But the way they've been coming in with that demand and that
those big waves,
march and wave, it looks scary. And I don't want to say invasion, but it kind of looks like it. Like if you were,
it looks like a
mob, like
just
a
march. Being the theme of AOC's comments, it looks like a Munich rally, man. You see,
a Munich rally, really? That's the new definition of a Munich rally.
Why not? Everybody's playing with words these days. I'm like,
If you don't know what a Munich rally is, if you look at the old Nazi videos and the rallies,
can't find them on YouTube anymore though.
True, you can't find them on YouTube. If you go to a library, like historical documentary or History Channel or National Geographic, I think has some.
And
if they ever do something about that, pretty much. Have you ever seen Nazi videos in any documentary where like a bunch of crowds,
like big waves,
big crowds of people? Yeah. Listen to Hitler. That's pretty much a Munich.
I'm just keeping it the theme of this week's episode. Apparently, we have concentration camps now. So
that is terrible. So the tariffs did work in terms of pressure.
Mexico
to do more to deter the migrant caravans coming to the United States.
Which I'm glad that that Mexico agreed to them, because nobody was a fan of it. Republicans weren't a fan of it. You had Lindsey Graham saying you got to be careful with tariffs. You had
I see.
I think McConnell was also afraid of the tariffs too.
Especially with Mexico. I mean, especially we just did what they just re-signed the NAFTA deal.
Yeah, so you always want to be careful, and I think that's why AMLO said, "Well, we just signed the freaking new NAFTA, and we're gonna have this. I don't have time for this." Mm-hmm. So does
this make Mexico weak? That
was one of the questions that was asked in the report.
States.
Well, that's what he said. That's what Jorge Ramos was getting to. Is like, so does this mean that Mexico is weak? That Mexico did not stand up to the bully?
What is it? Do we have to repeat
what
Jackson did back in the 1800s and march to Veracruz in Mexico City?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Why? How can Jorge Ramos make this argument when you had Mexicans, right, last year telling these Hondurans to go back to their country?
Oh, that's right. No. Yeah, I mean, I agree. That did happen. A lot of Mexicans were saying, what the hell? Yeah. Especially with the caravan. They're like, what are you doing here? Why are you demanding all this stuff? But remember, Jorge Ramos interpreted that attitude as the favorite term for Democrats and liberals.
What is it?
Those people were being
racist.
Yes.
Oh well, I mean, so
and what's the fancy word for racist?
Prejudice?
No, not prejudice. It's the other one. Something phobia.
Oh, they were
xenophobia.
Xenophobic.
Xenophobia. What the hell? Xenophobic. Sorry,
they were being Hondurophobian, but they were being Hondurophobic.
Triangle phobia. Northern triangle phobia. Northern triangle phobia. Can you believe that? But because a lot of Mexicans and we just mentioned there just like seconds ago that a lot of Mexicans were mad at the way these Hondurans and this Honduran caravan came to Mexico, marched right through, broke down the borders, pushed it down, marched right through the lands of Mexico. We all don't remember. You remember?
I remember.
Remember the videos of all the trash left behind? How they weren't.
The frijoles didn't get the right kind of beans and tortillas.
They were ungrateful. They were complaining. They were like, "Oh, we're being treated like dogs out here."
But the thing is,
right? And then Jorge Ramos calls those Mexicans who are defending their own country racist. And I'm like, really? That's all the Democrats. That's how Democrats just call people racist. That's ridiculous.
Mexicans are also colored people, so are they also racist as well?
Dark skin.
They're dark skinned people, Jorge.
That's what they call us.
So you mean to tell me that there's races outside of the white race? Talk to me, Jorge.
It's not just white people being racist.
Jorge. Hablo contigo, compa. But
Jorgito.
But anyways, so the president said with the tariffs, as honestly as probably, I mean, you call it an ultimatum, you call it whatever you want, but it was effective. It's a gamble. It worked in his favor.
It was a good pressure. Remember here in MM Talk, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago when they first announced it.
And I said, short term, yes. Long term, forget it. Yes. It was short term, great. Because I can't.
Because it puts pressure.
It puts pressure. Yeah, it's all about political pressure on Mexico, which is I even said that I think you asked me, are the tariffs a good idea in the future? And I say yes, as long as it's all about political pressure. Because I said it's all about political pressure. The whole shutting down the border, political pressure on Mexico, which is what everyone's arguing right now. So this was 3 months ago, people. I did not, I'm not Dr. Strange. I didn't go in my time stone. But
it's just good public policy thinkers, politic thinking.
I said, as long as there's political pressure on Mexico, then do what you got to do. And this is what happened. Now that's why I'm the question is, did Mexico give into the United States? In a way, it did concede into the United States because they're being held accountable for thousands and thousands and thousands upon thousands of people crossing their basically through the whole national sovereignty to reach the United States without any sort of consequence. So it was a perfect strategy. Like, okay, so each month that you don't do anything, I will raise tariffs 5%. Mm-hmm. You had a lot of people here were supporting it. I was into, I'd rather pay them a little bit more money for certain goods as long as my border is secured. Mm-hmm. That's fine. I mean, I guess some people.
Yeah, some people are willing to pay the price as long as they get the outcome, right?
Yeah, but
that's what Pi thinks.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people thought, but I'm like, no, it's not a good idea long term, people. It's not. You have to find another way, which they did. So now Mexico, check this out. So results: Mexico National Guard is on the way to Guatemala, the border with Guatemala, reinforcing it too. Guatemala is now trying to consider itself a safe zone so people can apply for asylum there. When did you hear that over the last 10 years?
Never. Not even under President Obama.
And it's hard for me to give the president any credit sometimes because sometimes you approach things really, 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 really extreme. Which
the president can be a dodo sometimes.
Because the president takes policy and the rules to its limitations, like right borderline, like, dude, you need to calm down. That's a borderline.
Enough pressure to almost break it, but not really break it.
It's like sometimes you have Constitution and Trump, and it's about that much of a difference. And it's like, dude, okay, fine, whatever. But what he's doing now is with everything with the U.S. Code of Detention, deportation, and all that, which I'm cool with. But.
So, in summation, the pressure of putting tariffs on Mexico
worked.
Did yield the results that the president was looking for.
Some of the results. Because Vice President Pence said you still have to do more, which I agree.
Yeah.
You have to wait.
But, it's a different sovereignty, like we always say. Respect the sovereignty of Mexico. I'm glad they were able to agree to help minimize the amount of people leaving their home countries, risking their lives throughout their entire journey. And their children and the health of themselves, through this passage. So, in the words of Kenny Rogers, learn when to hold them and learn when to fold them.
Wow.
Wow. Anyways, so that concludes our subject on the tariffs and that poker face, that pressure on Mexico by President Trump.
Trump went all in.
Which
Mexico folded.
Yep, he didn't fold them.
Yeah, so that's good. But let's go to our final segment, which is I'm having like a really hard time understanding my own home state. We're back to California, folks.
So now we're going to local politics.
Local state.
Golden state of California, where we're being bled out of our lives and money.
In the People's Republic of California.
And a supermajority Democratic
House.
Both Senate and governor. And congressional districts and assembly and
it's a supermajority. It's a supermajority. So as
we're bluer than blue.
Yeah,
we're bluer than this blue right here.
There's more blue in your shirt.
True that. It's almost purple.
So as we all know, California. This week. Was it this week? Right, Tuesday.
Yeah.
This week they passed the state budget, $215 billion.
No, last week. Sorry, last week.
Was it last week? Okay, so last week. Okay, so $215 billion.
That's a lot of money.
$260 million of that is estimated to go to illegal aliens to cover healthcare costs.
Wait, whoa. The party that's claiming to give universal health care to all Californians decided to give free medical care to undocumented immigrants
ages 18 to 26.
Before they do the ones here, before their own citizens.
So before residents of citizens.
Before residents
of California can obtain
citizens of California.
Citizens.
I want to say citizens because you could be undocumented and still reside within the state of California.
All right. Okay. So citizens of California.
So just citizens in general.
But citizens within the state of California, because California's been advocating for universal health care too. Before we get you health care or get affordable health care, illegal aliens ages 18 to 26 can get it for free.
That doesn't make sense. It's like you're telling your own kids, you know what, son? I'm gonna buy you clothes, but you know what? Let me go clothe your neighbors first before I clothe you.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's like It's like telling your kid, you know what? I know you need new shoes. I'm gonna get you new shoes, but before I get you new shoes, your neighbor across the street needs shoes, and I'm gonna get them shoes first.
Now, this was the estimated cost, by the way.
Estimated cost is $260 million.
Yeah, that was the estimated cost because there's a problem.
What's the problem?
Like all government programs, you do not know what the real outcome is going to be because you cannot. Basically, for this program, for example, you do not have the exact count of 18 to 26-year-olds that are undocumented within the state. This was in the Washington Examiner. They said that this
we don't have accurate numbers.
Yeah, we don't have accurate numbers of 18 to 26-year-old undocumented immigrants in California. So, in the Washington Examiner, saying that the cost of this can actually go up even more.
Oh my god!
So, like the bullet train, California, and so I don't get my home state, man. I don't get it.
What are Democrats thinking?
So we have a homeless crisis.
Really?
We got people in the streets. We got people that are dying in the streets. This was in the San Francisco Chronicle. This was in the LA Times. People have typhus. People are having, I don't know, some other kind of diseases. If they go to the ER, you're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars for ER healthcare costs. They don't have health insurance. They can't afford it. I don't know if they'll be able to qualify for Medi-Cal because that's the program. So if they do, well, good. If they don't, then what else they're going to be able to do? They're going to just keep getting build. I mean, that's lost money because they're never going to pay it back. So now your healthcare costs in California is going up too because now companies are not even receiving their money. So I'm like, oh, okay, but you want to give free healthcare to 18 to 26-year-old illegal immigrants.
I mean, I'm not saying they don't deserve healthcare.
I'm not saying you should stop healthcare, but my thing is you have a bigger problems in California.
Yes.
You have a homeless crisis in California. You have people in San Francisco pooping in the freaking streets.
Thank you. And
Okay?
LA too.
And in LA too. People in LA, skid roads are full with tents, full with diseases. People can't afford anything. Mayor Garcetti, for crying out, is being asked to be recalled by residents of LA because of this crisis. But you have money to
give it to
give it to illegal aliens. Oh, but we're also tackling the homeless crisis, Eddie. We're putting more money into it.
And how are they doing that? How are we putting money into the homeless crisis?
Oh, Google's donating $1 billion to help with the development in San Francisco. Okay.
Google is helping. Not the government. Google.
I'm like, what is going on with this state? Like, I don't understand what is wrong with you guys. If you have for a party that talks about a lot of social programs and all that,
social safety nets
and so forth, you're putting your resources in the wrong spot. First of all, I don't agree with basically giving universal health care. I mean, or all stuff like that.
The cost of healthcare is so expensive.
Yeah.
To offset that.
But to offset that, and then you don't know what pre-existing conditions they make people have. So, and then the cost of that healthcare, right? So that prices will go up.
Oh my god!
So go up and up and up and up and up.
It's just
but California has a budget surplus. I think you need to revisit that again.
Yeah, the budget surpluses.
Yeah.
Supposedly we have a budget surplus.
But we don't.
But we passed so many stupid laws that we're not going to have that surplus.
Oh, speaking of stupid laws, pretty soon we're going to have the new gas tax increase. I want to thank all of you who voted no on 6.
Thank you, Democrats in California. We appreciate your progressive ideas and progressive policy making.
So
you're still going to milk us until we die.
It's pretty bad, people, when you have a government that wants to give healthcare. Like I said, to foreigners
instead of helping their own residents and citizens, instead of helping them out first, get it situated. I mean, any responsible adult, will know that.
If you don't trust Talk, look at reports from CNN, Washington Post, the LA Times, San Francisco Chronicle, all liberal outlets. They talk about what the homeless crisis is about. What is causing it? High rent control doesn't work. Section 8 vouchers don't work. Too many zoning restrictions. Too many regulations on development. That's what's causing the crisis. All controlled by who? Sacramento. And
Sacramento's full of?
Democrats.
A super majority Democrats.
It's a super majority.
It's ridiculous majority. You would think they would have solutions to the problems.
No.
Like they always say, oh, we're going to solve the problem. But Democrats don't solve crap. They just go on saying that we're doing something, but they're not really doing anything. They're like, what do you call it? Like, you pretend to work, but you're not working.
Oh, Bernie Sanders? Never worked a day in his life?
Never worked a day in his life. That guy. You know?
But,
so it's like, our problem here is that, yes, you know, we're concerned about the undocumented immigrants and they do need help and everything. But first,
help your own people.
Your own people. Your own
I mean,
residents,
if
your
you're
own
talking
citizens.
that government, let's just take the government, the Democratic argument. If you're talking about that government is the one that help the people, then help the people that are living here. Here first, the people that are in the streets.
Americans first.
But Eddie, we're building more homeless shelters. How long is it going to take to build? Is it going to be enough for all the homeless people in the streets? Is it going to be enough for the incoming homelessness because of the current wage gaps you have in LA and San Francisco? The increasing housing prices, the increasing rent prices. Is it going to encompass all that? Talk to me!
and then not only that, like, when has homeless shelters actually reduced the amount of homelessness?
Yeah.
What are the stats on that? There is, I don't know if there is. There probably is out there, but
No, there's stats that tell you they'll tell you two things. Some of them is because they can't afford it, and some of them is because of psychological reasons. Mm-hmm. Okay, those are the two main
mental illnesses.
the two main factors as to why you have large homeless. LA, it's crazy. You have 36,000 people in the streets in LA, 59,000 in LA County. I'm not looking at San Francisco yet.
that's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
So instead of helping foreigners, which we should help out when we can, but if you can't take care of your own household, how are you going to be able to take care of your guests?
But Governor Newsom went to El Salvador to get understanding. Really? He couldn't go to East LA?
He doesn't even step at that side of the freaking freeway.
I don't think he goes below Napa Valley, but that's me. But yeah, no.
Tell us what you think about all these issues that we just spoke
crazy.
about. California, what's going on? We love California so much that
Get ready for $5 a gallon, people.
and yes, like Eddie said, in July, in tax increase on gasoline. Remember how Governor Newsom was going to fight and combat that high prices and figure out why gas prices in California are so high? There you go, taxes. Just like we said here in MM Talk months ago, taxes and regulations is what's keeping gas prices in California highest in the nation.
And to think this country was founded over the raising of taxes.
Against raising taxes, right? Yeah.
Oh man, California, and it's sad when I have to defend my home state in social media. It's like, yeah, we got crazies, burn California. I hope California goes in the ground. Like first of all, and then I have to battle my own people, my own conservative people. Like, back off my state, bro. Okay. I get we have issues, but you need to back off my state. I'm defending California. Actually, I'm defending Southern California because that northern part is like, wow, now I sound like a Confederate. Yeah, those Yankee Democrats over there.
The Northerners.
The Northern Democrats. Wow. Now I just transported myself to 1860.
Oh my God.
But yeah,
it's horrible.
California is out of control, and it's not going to change until change in Sacramento comes. Mm-hmm. And the only way change can come is if people or viewers, you start to understand what the issues are in California. I'm not talking as a Republican. Just think about it. Think about the issues going on. If you live in the LA County area, you're seriously going to tell me that $15 an hour is helping you out, given what's going on and the cost that a lot of people are coming to where we are in the Inland Empire because of living costs. So help me out here. If the mayor of LA is being told to resign because of a homeless crisis, are you telling me that a Democratic-controlled city council or mayor is doing the right thing? Is the governor doing the right thing? These are the issues. I don't understand what else is going to take. L.A. slowly is going to look like Detroit if you keep going like this. L.A. now, I don't even recognize. I grew up in L.A. but when I've traveled down in L.A., I don't recognize it anymore. It's terrible. I go to Dodger Stadium, and as soon as I reach the 101, it smells like feces and urine. For crying out loud! Oh, that one time we went to the to the luncheon. We were walking down the
the Biltmore. Yeah,
the Belmore. We were walking around the Belmore right there on what's that, Pershing Square, right?
pretty much.
And then
bunch of homeless
and
feces,
then-
trash, just dirt.
Not only
dirty.
that, the first time I saw a public restroom, like a little portable restroom right there. I'm like, and you told me like, well, that's actually a restroom. Like, what the heck? I'm like,
the conditions of that public restroom was so horrible.
You could smell
it's like
it.
a messed up. It
And
might as well just be a messed up, roll on the floor, poo poo and pee pee all over the place.
And the reason
porta
they said-
potty instead of a physical.
and the reason they said it is because they saying they were actually doing their business in the streets as well. That's why they build these new public restrooms. Like, well, so right by not even 30 feet, there was like a restaurant, a cafe, and so forth. I'm like, really?
That's
Wow.
California for you.
Hey, they say things happen for a reason. I skipped right on time because I skipped. I don't. It's pretty bad. But leave us your comments, folks. What do you think California should do? What does the Republican Party in California have to do? That's what I want you to give us your thoughts, because we probably can even reach out to the GOP and be like, hey, you guys are. We have listeners here that are telling us some of your ideas. Just send an email or something.
Jeez, we need to do something about this.
But send us your ideas. Tell us what you guys think. What should you do? I mean,
Leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. On any segment we talked about, the AOC comparison of concentration camps. It's just the Mexican terrorists, did it work? Did it not work? What do you think? And also California. Should California be giving millions of dollars to undocumented individuals over those American citizens or those residents within California? So leave us your comment below. Let us know what you think. Thank you for joining for Talk this week. We hope to see you soon. And remember, we are your host. We are your host, Jaime Moreno
and Eddie Marmelo. He's got.
I know, that was my bad.
He got that AOC moment right there.
Anyways,
so
remember, we're tired of it too.
Jaime and I would like to thank you all for tuning into our podcast this week. If this is your first time tuning into Talk and you like the show, we invite you to come back every Thursday. Just hit that subscribe button and the little bell so you're notified when our videos are up. Also, do not forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for any additional notifications. This is Talk, and remember, we're tired of it too.